Hello. I'm going to talk about my foster care experience again. In my last video, I told you about how I met Peggy and how my mom had left and forgotten about me for a few days. And I'm going to take you back to that just for a second. I had said that it was when I was in grade 7, but I'm mistaken. It was actually grade 6, because what I'm going to tell you about now is what happened a few months after that story. So it's the summer before grade 7, and I always visited my grandparents every year for 3 weeks in the summer. It was something I always look forward to, and I will talk more about that in another video. So I was at my grandparents for the summer, and it was entering the second week, and all of a sudden my mom calls, and I could tell immediately that she was having one of her episodes. She was saying that she needed to come and pick me up right away, because somebody from the CAS was trying to take me, which wasn't true, but one of the side effects that my mom always had was delusion, paranoia, always thought that things were happening or going to happen that weren't. And I was really upset because I did not want to leave my grandparents' place a week early, but she came anyway, and she picked me up. And she brought me home. And the only reason I was happy to be there was because my friend Kristen was having a pool party with all the cool people, and I was invited. But my mom wouldn't let me go. Hi, honey. That's Mason. Hi, sweetie. Can you just wait a second? Okay. So I was back home with my mom, and she was acting very strange. It was the strangest I had seen her act in a very long time. We had just moved to this place not too long ago, so we still had boxes in the kitchen. And my mom had placed me, she asked me to sit underneath the windowsill on the floor, and I sat there, and she proceeded to empty all the boxes and place things on the floor around me until the entire kitchen floor was covered in just decorations, objects, whatever was in the box. There didn't seem to be at the time any rhyme or reason to why she was doing this. And I'm not sure when I actually got up and that changed, but I remember spending a lot of time in my room over the next couple of days, because my mom had decided to go out, and she didn't come back for a couple of days. And I just stayed home because I was just too afraid. I was too afraid of what was going to happen to me if she came home and found out that I wasn't there. So I stayed. She came back, and she still didn't tell me where she was or what was going on. It was maybe 11 o'clock at night, and I couldn't sleep. My mom was playing the music quite loud, which wasn't an abnormal thing. And I came out of my room and walked through the kitchen, and she didn't know that I was there, but I could hear her crying. And I remember very vividly her saying, "Please get rid of this child. Take her away." And I was upset. So I went back to my room, and I tried to go back to sleep. And the next day, I had asked if I could go to the party because I had hoped that I could go, because she wasn't letting me call my friends. She wasn't letting me tell anybody that I was back home. And she became so upset with me that she started emptying all of my drawers and saying that she couldn't handle me anymore. So she emptied all of my drawers of my stuff and stormed off and went into her bedroom, and I wasn't sure what was going on. Outside of my bedroom, the landlord was working in the garage downstairs. I could see the garage out my window, but I couldn't get his attention. I had a craft that I had worked on that had these rocks on it, and I was picking off the rocks, and I was throwing them to try to get his attention, and I did. And I remember trying to use charades to tell this man that my mom was kicking me out. I remember even like kicking my leg out the window to try to get what I was trying to say without my mom hearing me, because I was so afraid at this point what she was going to do. He did come upstairs, and I was relieved, and he came upstairs under the guise that he was checking on something that he had installed the previous week to see if it had worked. And it was an odd house where you had to walk through the bathroom to get to my room. So he was in the bathroom, I was in my room, and he was able at one point to ask me, what's going on. And so I was able to say, she's kicking me out. And all I remember is him leaving and not coming back. So that night, I went to bed, and it was about 2 o'clock in the morning, and my mom brought me out, and she laid me on the couch. She wanted me to sleep on the couch so I could be close to her, and she had all her candles lit and all that, and I was wearing a long t-shirt to bed, and just underwear underneath, no socks or anything. And at one point she asked me to get up and to go with her, and it was dark. It was like maybe 2 in the morning, and she took me downstairs of this house. There was apartments in the house, and we were on the 2nd floor. She took me downstairs and put me outside and told me to stay there. And she hid in the dark for a couple of minutes, making sure I did not move, and I did not want to move. I remember watching the people across the street order pizza, and I remember the car going in and the guy going up to the door. I was wondering if anybody was going to see me standing there, but I was in the shadows. And at one point I heard something drop out of the window, and so I went to go see what it was. And when I got to almost the spot where it was, I panicked, because I figured, oh my gosh, my mom threw something out the window. She's going to come downstairs and get it. She's going to realize I'm not where she left me, and I rushed back to the spot. But she never came down. I don't know how long I was down there, but I was getting cold. It was the middle of the summer, but I only had a long t-shirt on, and I was getting increasingly afraid of what was happening. I put 2 and 2 together, and I mustered up the courage, and I ran. I ran so fast. I ran down the street. I ran for about 20 minutes to my friend Kristen's house in just what I was wearing. And I was too afraid to knock on the front door because I didn't want to disturb the family. So I went into their backyard and I tried to sleep on some of their patio furniture, but I got too cold. And so I again mustered up the courage to knock on the door. Well, Kristen's family welcomed me in, and I appreciate that so much. And I slept on Kristen's floor for the rest of the night. And the next morning, I called my grandparents, and my grandparents came right away to pick me up. Later on, I had learned that my mom had gone downstairs and noticed that I wasn't there, and I'm not sure if she called 911. I don't think she did, because the following day or the day after that, I had learned that my mom had tried to apprehend somebody else's children pretending that she was a social worker. And she had never done anything like that before, so she had landed herself in the Nichols building, which is the local mental institution. She had been arrested, and I went to go live with my grandparents for a little while, until the CAS got involved and I was brought into care. And so that's how I was brought into care at that point, the summer before grade 7. Those are the things that happened coming up to that event. I was with my grandparents for a week, and then I lived with my best friend Matt and his family for a week. And then I was put into a foster home with a single mom, a daughter that was the same age as me, which was brutal, and she had a little brother. I'm not going to mention their names because if anybody's going to sue me for mentioning them live on video, it would be the daughter. So I'm not going to go there. But yes, so thanks for listening. I'm hoping to make Fridays Foster Care Fridays because I've got a lot more stories to share with you. Some are emotional, some are funny, and I hope you stay tuned. Follow me so you make sure you'll never miss an update, and thanks for watching.